Hey Mark, how you doing, bro? All
How are you
good?
doing, Yassine? You doing good, my friend?
Doing good, bro. Except that this weather is fantastic. I
Oh,
mean,
annoying,
hey,
man.
I'm not gonna be a complainer. It's just raining, but I still wanted that Bagelstein sandwich, but hey,
Same for me, bro. We need these bagels, bro. We need it.
yeah.
Um, so how you've been doing, Yassine?
How have I been doing? I have had an up and down week, to be honest
Okay.
with you.
Yeah.
Were some tough periods and also some interesting conversations that I'd like for us to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I talked with some of my friends about friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Then we talked about history as well,
Yeah.
and also like how you never really know people until they accept what they tell you and what they show you, but the rest you don't really know.
Yeah. I see what you
And
mean.
but hey, we can talk about that after. But that was the interesting stuff that happened. The bad stuff
Mm-hmm.
that happened. I mean, there wasn't much bad stuff.
Yeah.
Just exams are going with uni,
Yeah,
and
of
it's
course.
tough because I have to
Always, always. Yeah.
slow down with the business
Slow
stuff
down the work. Yeah.
and even fitness maybe a bit. But yeah.
Okay, so let's get back onto stopping work for exams. What do you think of it?
Okay.
Tough question. Okay, so right now I'm hitting really close to home for Yassine because I know that he always hates um exam times because he kind of has to prioritize work for school over his own business and all these ideas and all of his creative stuff. So I kind of like to tease him and kind of see how he progresses when it comes to that. So I'll let you talk about
Yeah, honestly, man, like the thing I hate about exams is just that they're very stressful and that to me it's not the best way to measure someone's learning abilities.
it.
Because
Hmm.
like you could just learn the thing by heart and pass, but that's it. You don't
Of
really
course, yeah.
remember it.
Hmm.
I think the true tests of life, and I know this from my copywriting, how I remember the stuff. I use it, mess up,
Yeah,
oh, come back and use it again. But it's a consistent cycle. That's how learning happens. And with exams, you just have to try and cram everything in there,
true.
and it makes it very stressful. I mean,
Mm.
the thing I also hate the most is that there's some kids that like they don't even have to study, bro. They be reading and
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
ready
yeah.
for the exam while I'm putting in all these hours.
Of
And
course.
it just sucks because it feels like every time you're making progress, you got to stop for something that maybe not necessarily leads you to your goals, but you
Hmm.
just have to because you don't want to let other people down that you care about.
I see what you mean. I think I think really the thing that annoys me the most is probably the people that just spend 5 minutes looking at the papers and then they come out and they know literally everything. It's it's so frustrating because you're like, oh, I spent hours trying to learn that thing. They just did it in 5 minutes. And a lot of these times, like when the person just talks about, oh, I finished doing it in 5 minutes or what, not 5 minutes. I finished doing it in an hour. They tell you, like, I'd be like, oh, then what did you do after? And then they'd be like, I don't know. I watched TV, played some games, went out. So it's like, oh God. So man, you had all that time and you decided you had the first of all, you're lucky or you're intelligent, you're wired in a different way, which is amazing. It's a blessing, right? And then you just take that time and throw it out the window, man. It drives me crazy. The amount of time I've seen that. But at the same time, can't blame them.
I mean, I will say this though, that I have noticed is intelligent people, very smart ones that have been given
Hmm.
this gift, they tend to be a bit lazy. And because things come
True.
so simply for them, they don't
Yeah.
have to put in much work. So when they have a friend who is very intelligent with school and all,
Hmm.
and he wants to be successful, but he struggles with discipline. He just can't stick to it. And I think it's because he's very intelligent. Things come
Hmm.
easy to him, and he doesn't feel this
Yeah.
hard work.
I think you have two types of intelligent people. So the first one is you have intelligent people that are like really strict with themselves. They push themselves to there's a lot of intelligent people that work a lot. So that's kind of in that category. So they're consistent, they're super disciplined, they've got time periods to do everything. And then you've got other types of people that are even, I think sometimes even more intelligent, but that kind of are like they don't have a specific schedule. They're not necessarily disciplined. It's just that they know that they can learn things in a rather quick way, so they're kind of able to get away with it. You kind of understand what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
I know that I'm intelligent, or like I know that I can learn this in an hour. So, I won't bother giving it 2 hours. I'll just do the 1 hour that I need to do and then I'll get over with it. Or I'll do it too late. And I feel like a lot of people, that's kind of the issue, is that they don't have discipline as well. And I'd like to add about this about intelligent people. A lot of intelligent people, I'm talking about intelligence when it comes to school. A lot of these people tend to like enjoy a lot academic studies. So like
Yeah.
when you're gonna talk to them about, oh, let's start a business or let's do something like that, they'll go crazy. There's too many variables. I don't know. It's not because part of starting a business is not only kind of using your mind, it's kind of the way that things are as well, like, oh, you've got to learn, you've got to be consistent for so much time before it pays off. When it comes to school, you just gotta like, oh, I got an exam in a week, I'll study for the week and I'll get my reward at the end of the week. So it's not the same.
Yeah.
And when you do something that knows it makes you happy, if you always get good grades after your work, makes you happy, makes your parents happy, make the people around you happy. So why would they?
Yeah, I think that's what makes it harder for entrepreneurial people. And I mean, it's because not all of them, of course. I know some entrepreneurial friends who don't need to study a lot. They do well in school and they crush it in
True,
business.
of course.
But for me, it's always been difficult because I don't know. I feel like I still haven't found the best learning method for me.
Hmm.
That makes it harder. I feel like people have the people that are do good in school and crush it in business, they tend to have figured out the method that works for them when it comes to learning, or at
Hmm.
least how to apply it. Not all of them, but
Yeah,
mm, a good bunch of them. And I
true.
haven't found that yet. And that's where you have to test and try. But that's hard because you don't want to fail as well. But at the same time, you have to try and fail so that you can learn what
Yeah.
worked and what didn't work. And
I think,
that's
you know, at the time, I feel like so many people were able to figure out their learning styles when they were younger.
yeah.
But I feel like the people who still until this day don't know how to study or don't know which way is the best for them to learn, it's it's super hard. Because if you think about it, it's like right now you don't know which method works for you. So you're like, oh, should I write the thing until I memorize it? Should I say it out loud? Should I listen to it? Should I don't know, create Quizlet
Show it.
papers?
Yeah.
Exactly. Should I recite it to my parents, to my friends, And so you're like, you have that problem that's always there because no matter which subject you're in, you still have to learn it. You still have to figure out a way to put it into your head. And at the same time, you've got the problem of I need to study for the exam. So a lot of times what we do is we just are like, okay, I don't know how to, I don't want to waste time trying to figure out which way of learning is the best for me. So I'll just, I don't care about it. I'll just do what usually works, even though it doesn't work great. And then it's in God's hands.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's very hard because, with copywriting, it's clear to me. It's clear to me. I use it. I know how to do it. It's simple. But with school and uni stuff, it's super difficult because how do you take economics and make it fit? Like
Yeah.
it could fit, but not during this period, right? Maybe when
Mhm.
you have a large business at scale. How do you take social psychology? I mean, social psychology in itself, you can use it, but the thing is, how do you take like the definitions and the words,
Mhm.
acronyms and stuff?
Yeah.
Unless you're a teacher who teaches them, I don't see how.
Yeah.
like, or you find a way to always consume it, but that's not always possible because you have other things that you really care about. Um, so it's a struggle, and honestly,
So
I hope I figure it out.
yeah,
But yeah,
if we go back to yeah, sorry. If we go back to what you were saying, would you always prioritize working for your academic exams and putting everything else aside, or would you still find a way to combine them?
I actually usually what I would do is completely sacrifice it.
Mm-hmm.
But recently, I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't feel happy when I do that.
Okay.
So what I decided is, what can I do to deal with this in a way that's sustainable? And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I created a new schedule instead of the
Okay.
one I have. I was like, this is the exam schedule. And I put in it that I have to write at least 3 pieces of copy
Mm-hmm.
because that's something that helps me with the business and send at least 100 DMs per week
Okay.
and watch 2 videos of copy per week. So I
Okay.
basically took my copywriting tasks and shrink them.
Okay.
Now, shrink the quantity. Now, what's a bit challenging is I didn't put in it film content,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe I might have to change some things there. With the writing, the days where I write, I might have to do
Yeah.
content instead.
Mm-hmm.
Sports, I struggle with that one,
You have to find time for
especially
it.
especially when I want to add cardio and mobility. I finally found a way to add it to my normal schedule. And now with this, I have to figure out a way to do it. Because,
Okay. Do,
man,
do you think what's the
mhm,
minimum amount of time that you can give to it?
probably 40 minutes. Cardio, it
No,
would
no,
be,
I mean times per week.
oh, 3 times.
If it's 3 times just for 2 weeks, the time to get through for your exams, and you're still working on your business and studying for them, I think it's all good.
Yeah.
Like, sure, yes, it's annoying. Yeah, it kind of, you know, pisses you off probably, but yeah, it's you can't do everything.
Yeah. Well, my uncle used to recommend, which I might do, because I'm like, I don't want to, like, I haven't yet done the mobility and cardio. I want to
Hmm.
do it.
Of
Otherwise,
course.
I'm never going to start it. So what I'm thinking of, my uncle always said, if you don't have time, do full body workouts.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
at
yeah.
least keeps the muscles. So I'm thinking about maybe for the first time in my life taking that advice and doing full
Hmm.
body workout. He was like, you don't maybe once a week,
I
and
agree.
then the other times do cardio and mobility
Yeah.
for just
Alex
these two.
Alex Hermosi was actually talking about this. He says that every day when he goes to the gym, he
Yeah.
does full body workouts
Mm,
because he's
yeah.
like, what if tomorrow I don't have time to do my back, for example? What if tomorrow I
Yeah.
don't have time to do my legs? What if for 3 days I have important things and I can't attend the gym? He's
Yeah.
like, oh, I already did it, so I don't have to worry about what did I do more, did I what I didn't do enough about. So he's like, okay, you know what? Instead of spending like an hour like everyone at the gym, I'll spend 2, 3 hours every day,
Yeah.
but I'll do everything so that if tomorrow something comes up, which usually happens, well, I don't have to go and like be like, oh no, I can't do legs today. I have to skip leg day.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a good point, but I also think something like I agree with him during periods where you'd have no choice. But
Mm-hmm.
I think for us, Alex has already built his body, and he was saying on his
Oh
podcast
yeah,
now
of
he's
course.
doing what he needs to do to just to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so right now, during this exam period, I won't do what builds, but I will do what keeps, except for cardio maybe because I just want to improve my heart strength because it's been a while since I did some cardio.
Mm-hmm.
And that should work. That should work.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, and honestly, for my copywriting, there's 3 things, 4 things actually that I
Mm-hmm.
do.
Okay.
Send DMs, film content, learn by watching copy videos, and write copy that gets criticized, and correct others' copy. I haven't
Okay.
corrected other people's copy for like 2, 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So part of me wanted to add it to the schedule, but I was like, maybe it's not the most important thing to get the boat moving right now. I'll
Yeah.
get back to it after the exams. So
Yeah,
I
I
think
get
I'm
you.
gonna
Yeah.
have to do that.
Mm.
But bro, the other thing that I also wanted to mention about exams that makes them so stressful to me
Mm-hmm.
is our exams are 3 hours
Oof.
and I get extra time, so that makes them I get 45 minutes extra. It was like 3 hours and 45 minutes, maybe even 1 hour actually. I've noticed in certain cases they extended it. So I'm like, oh my God, how
That's
the
a lot.
hell does anyone focus that much? Like, I feel like at this point you'd be
Yeah.
brain dead, especially in economics.
Yeah.
So this is what makes it annoying, because that's a lot.
Yeah. 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 Sure is. Um, I remember that one French exam when I was a kid. I actually wasn't that kid. I was like 15. I 4 hour exam. French one. I couldn't I can't bear that. Like I genuinely I hated French, okay? I'm good at it. We all speak French here. We're from Geneva, so everyone speaks French. But I hate like literature. Literature. Like I can't even say it. I hate it so much. Literature, I hate it. So
Literature.
literature. I can't say it, bro. I got the American accent. Anyways, so what I was like I got into the exam. And from the start, I knew that I wanted to boycott that thing because I just hated it. And I was like, you can't just work for 4 hours. So I got into the exam and I didn't have that many friends at the time, but still a few. And so I was sitting all the way at the front and people started writing, they started writing. You had like these kind of poems or texts from books, extracts that you had to analyze and talk about, like written. So essays. Um, bro, I didn't understand shit about the poems. Sorry for the word, but like I didn't understand anything, and I was looking at it. I was like, bro, I don't know. And French isn't the type of thing that you can study for. Like you can study the form of your text, how to write your introduction, how to first paragraph, everything, but you can't just like it comes out of practice. And I was too lazy to practice, to be honest. I didn't want to do it, and I just wanted to boycott it. So I spent the first hour just looking around not understanding. I tried, you like I was thinking about it. How do I write this? Maybe I did this, maybe I did that. Didn't work. And so I was like, man, you know what? Like I didn't get much sleep last night. I was tired. So I just put my head on the I put my head on the desk. I closed my eyes, bro, and I can tell you that 3 hours flew by like this, bro. Time flied, and then one of the supervisors kind of passed like right next to me and he patted my back. He was like, yo, Mark, wake up. What are you doing? I was like, oh yeah, sorry. And so people around me were laughing because they saw that I was sleeping. So I was like, like at least I got other people's moods up, and they started laughing. And I looked at the time. There was like I can't remember how much time left, like 15, 30 minutes left. Didn't know what to do. So I was just like, you know what? Like, I don't care at this point. I'll just leave the blank paper as it is because I don't know. I genuinely didn't know what to do. So I just
Yeah.
left the paper, took my stuff, went out of the room. A few people started laughing. I was like, I don't care at this point. And I just went home, told my mom. My mom, for the first time, my mom usually like cares about exams, but when I told her that I just left a blank paper, I think she went crazy. Like she laughed. It's like I told her, look, mom, how she asked me, how was the exam? Yeah, it was good, like I I wrote
I
nothing.
took a nap.
She was like, sorry, what? And I was like, yeah,
It,
I didn't have any idea of what to talk about, so I just didn't talk about anything. And she laughed. And she told my dad, and my dad laughed as well. They were like, bro, I think that was the laugh of disappointment. They're like, it's not possible at this point. And I could understand them because like it was kind of dumb not to write anything, and I understand it, but kind of reminded me of that story. Sorry, we went side quest a little bit.
Oh man. How did you sleep for 3 hours with your back like that? Did it not hurt?
No, no, actually, no, I'm surprised. I was
Jesus.
younger as well, so I was kind of shorter, so it was easier. But
Oh,
it was comfortable, bro. You can never get that type of sleep. You know, when you just sleep and then you wake up and you're like, bro, I felt like it was 10, 15 minutes, 3 hours, man.
yeah.
I think I went back home and I went back to sleep. Ugh, old
Oh
times.
my God, bro. Yeah, you're wild. But at least you got a
I
good
I
story.
always yeah. I always had that problem with exams, tests, and all those kind of things. Like I could never finish on time, or most of the time I just couldn't like figure out how to do it. Like I'd
Yeah.
study for it. Sometimes I'd study for it and I'd be like, okay, this time I study for it. It should be all good. And then I arrive at the exam and I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, I mean, I get you, bro. French is one of those subjects where the sky is blue literature. The sky is blue. What did he mean by that? He meant the sky is blue, but you have to make it complicated.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
literally, for the last exam we had recently in school, I never wrote so much BS in my
Same.
life. And I got
Same
the
for me, man.
best grade I ever had in the IB, bro.
Same. Me too. Bro,
Such
I got
BS.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I just everything that I was always sure not to say about French things, I just said it and it worked. Like I literally described what was happening in the text. They were like, okay, so the man went out on the window and he sat down and then he smoked. So smoke represents that, like the cigarette represents the life of the guy, and every time he smokes it, his life gets shorter, and some bullshit like this, and it works. I was super happy.
Yeah, I said something like the guy's name repeats 3 times through generations, so that means that the name is passed down like a king. Some bullshit like that.
Yeah, yeah, it worked. It worked.
It worked. It worked.
Sometimes you have to BS your shit out of things.
Yeah, for school at least.
Yeah,
And
of
things like
course.
that. It's all
Uh,
BS. Okay.
yeah. All right. Anything else you want to talk about your week?
Uh, well, I told you about the history and friendship stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned
Maybe
it.
we can go there. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's go there. So one of my friends called me and he sent me a few videos and he was like, "Bro, I'm happy, but I'm not proud of myself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel X, Y, and Z ways, etc." And I want to say something about that because I always, did this I'm gonna give you some advice thing.
Yeah.
But that friend, it's been a while since I haven't seen him because he's in London.
UK.
So I just see his videos and his voice message. And I was like, he's doing well. He's probably doing all good and chilling. But then he sent me these messages like where he seemed super sad and unhappy and he's
Mm-hmm.
not making any progress. And I was like, wow, this actually shows you that you can never really know what someone is going through unless they show you or they tell you. If
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
you or tell you, you
Mm-hmm.
ain't gonna know. So don't even try guessing. Like, don't try making conclusions and stories up of, oh, he's a bad person, etc. No, you don't know
You don't know him.
unless they tell you. So that was
That's a
something
good
that I
point.
felt
That's a good
important.
point. I think it's also in the other way around. A lot of people get offended by others because they're like, "Oh, you should have known what I was going through."
Ah, that,
I you just can't work like that. And that's
yeah.
why communicating is solves so many problems, whether it's friendships or relationships or anything at all. Communicating how you're feeling, how you're doing, what you want, or anything, any issues that you have with a person is like the most important thing. Because it's
Yeah.
literally the other person can't know how you're feeling if you don't tell them how you're feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you a story about that real quick. I had an old friend of mine, he's not a friend now, but he was a hothead. So, he was a hothead and he would always look for fights. And I was shocked by his reaction. I couldn't believe it. Later on that day,
Yeah.
he went and talked to the principal and all, because the thing is, some kids caught him punching him. So he went and talked with the principal, and they weren't happy. But he was like in front of our group, "Don't worry, guys. I'm gonna write a report that's gonna put him in his place, and I'm gonna convince the principal that he took my property and screwed me up." Of course, that friend of mine had a lot of problems at the time, and that headphone meant a lot to him. It was a gift from a family member, okay? But still, that wasn't justified as a reaction. How does the other guy know? But he was telling us everything's gonna be okay. And he was like, I hate him, and I'm gonna get him in trouble too. You'll see. Then, as the weeks went by, he saw that it wasn't going his way, and he was like, blaming me. Why didn't you go and talk to the teacher? Why didn't you stand up and be a testimony and prove and defend me? And I was like, you made it seem like you didn't need any help. How am I supposed to know? If you show everyone that everything is perfect, everything is fine, how am I supposed to know?
True.
So that's why you have to tell, guys. We can't just sniff it.
It's yeah, it's not easy. I don't think he's right for what he did though, but it's yeah, it's always hard to know what other people are feeling if you don't talk about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, we were we were talking about that friend
Oh yeah,
um
true.
before we and that friend also in that video, not the one who punched the person, the other one who sent me the video, who I'm still friends with. He was talking about how he's thinking about reading history books. And I found that interesting. It was like, because I want to see what the history leaders used to do and how they acted and how they did things. And I found that
Okay.
interesting because I have always been reading self-help books, but it never occurred to me about history, that we could learn as much from reading about readers like
True.
Achilles, which he mentioned. But yeah, I just want to share this with you because I think it's an interesting thought.
Yeah,
Uh,
a lot of the Stoic people, they love to like read or listen to audiobooks about like um there was one guy, wait, I forgot his name.
Ryan
Anyways,
Holiday.
no. No,
Oh,
no. I was gonna talk about philosophers like Plato, Nietzsche, or all these different type of guys.
Plato. I'm telling you because I don't want anyone to come at you.
Plato,
Plato.
whatever. I said them with a French accent, so like Plateau, Nietzsche. I think Nietzsche is like Nietzsche in English,
Yeah,
Nietzsche,
exactly.
something like that. It's like Porsche. We in French we say Porsche. In English they say Porsche.
I didn't even
Why they say Porsche? Well, okay. Why? This is just weird, bro. Anyways, back to your friend who sent you the messages telling you that he wasn't doing okay.
Yeah, he's also the one that was telling me about the history stuff.
Okay, yeah.
One, so I found that interesting, and I was like, you know what? I'm curious about this. But
Hmm.
I wasn't curious about knowing about history people, because to me, the person I admire the most, the role model for Islam,
Hmm.
is the Prophet, peace be upon him. So I was like, I'm gonna try and learn more about people of the religion, how they were in terms
Okay.
of ethics, how the
Yeah.
historical people, and try to see what I can take from it.
Hmm.
Just because I feel like with guys like Achilles and things like that, yes, they're great, but they also had probably a lot of trauma and probably a lot of negative sides to them. And I don't want to take those parts. And I also
I think
don't,
they also I think there's a lot of positive things to take from them,
yeah.
especially like from a lot of philosophers. You can take a lot. Like I had a period in my life where I was listening a lot to Albert Camus.
Oh, I know the name. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But I don't know, like it's super interesting. I don't think you really get the negatives because they don't really talk about it in books, but the way they present their philosophy and the way they think of things, I think it's really interesting, to like get that
Yeah.
other perspective. So that you've got all of these type of things, like for example, Albert Camus' thing is like, oh, we all just like, we live just to die. So you're like,
Yeah.
okay, that's just weird. Okay, like why are you reading about this? But it's super interesting to get the philosophy behind different things. But if you listen to another philosopher, for example, they might tell you the opposite. We live just to not die. Something weird like that. I can't remember. Anyways.
Yeah.
Um, but what I was gonna say is I was gonna go back to that friend and the voice memos that he sent you. Um, I know who that friend is. And that same friend, I realized that I also sometimes I don't have trouble, but I genuinely feel uncomfortable saying no to people. You know, it's, right now lately I've been having like I've been kind of have I have some good self-confidence at this time. So
That's good.
I don't mind telling people like, nah, man, that's not what I want to do, or like, no, that's like nah, okay. But the thing is, I was the one who I talked to him about a business idea for the first time. And I asked him for help, like, oh yeah, can you help me with something real quick? And ever since then, he's always been trying to like get involved into it, trying to, help. I thought at first was just helping me out with it, just being nice. But then when we started talking more, he was like, oh, but I actually want to take a part in it. I want to take a share in it. I want to work with you. He wants to do it like he wants it to be an us thing, where I just thought he was just helping me because he was being kind. So I was like, okay. I think we have a schedule. We have a scheduled call like right after this podcast. So I was gonna talk to him about how like just tell him the truth, because I don't want to get his hopes up for anything. But it's kind of like like you're uncomfortable. Or like, look, man, like I know it's gonna make you feel bad, but I just can't do it with you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's okay. I mean, that friend is a good friend, but he's just a bit pushy. Um,
Yeah.
because he wants to help or he wants to be with his friends. Also, it's worth mentioning he had some business partners, but they weren't serious people. So I
Mhm.
think when he sees us, he's like, they're serious people. I can trust them. But the reason I think we wouldn't be able to do a project with them is just our nature is so different. Like, I feel like I like to lead, I like to have control,
Yeah.
and that friend likes that too. So it's always going to be a clash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether I'm not saying don't be friends with people who don't like to lead, but like they have to have, you know
You have to
how
have
kind
that
of
balance.
Alex and
It's like
Layla,
us, for example.
one takes,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
one
think
takes
I
care of
think
one part. Hmm.
exactly. I think with us it's the like it's a perfect example. Like both of us are natural leaders when it comes to things like this. We both like to like, take control over everything. But what I'd like to say is we both know how to balance things out between us.
Yeah,
Like we've been friends for so long and we know each other's like very well, that we know that if I do this or if I take care of that without telling Yassine, Yassine won't like it. It will make him feel uncomfortable. Or I know that, and Yassine, I think, knows that if I, for example, tell him, no, I'll do a podcast all by myself and you won't be in it, he's gonna be like, what the fuck, bro? So it's kind of like we know each other so much that we're able to balance it out. Like I'm able
yeah,
to take leadership of a few things, you're able to take leadership of another thing. And every time we have ideas, we don't confront each other about it. It's more of like we look at the positive and negatives and we're like, oh, this can be good. Okay, let's try it out. I don't know about this. And so there's no confrontation, there's no I think it's been like super long since we ever got in a fight. So
yeah. We're always on a bit of the same frequency. With that friend,
exactly.
it's a little bit different, the frequency. And I think that's what makes it also challenging with business. When you kind of have the same goals and things and frequency, it makes life easier
Yeah.
with business partners.
It's nothing negative about him if he's
Yeah,
listening.
no,
It's nothing negative. It's just, you know,
for us it doesn't work.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like I'm sure that he would find someone that works. Like I know the type of person that would work perfectly well with him. It's
Mm.
just not us.
Yeah, exactly.
But I kind of feel bad at the same time because he helped me, but I just didn't know that his intentions were that he wanted all in until like he sent me a message a week ago. I was like, you caught me by surprise here. I thought you were just being nice.
Yeah, I mean, he does that a lot. And I think part of that comes from the fact that I told you he wants to be with us as friends,
Yeah,
but also he's in a tough spot. And
of
when you're
course.
in a tough spot,
Mm.
you try to look for opportunities. We did it. We might do it one day as well again, but I just feel like this friend could go much further on his own.
I think
No,
he's the type of person as well to work by himself.
yeah, like
I
one
think it's
leader,
that's better for him. Like it's
yeah,
just
discipline wise too. He takes on everything
yeah.
and he has to deal with it that way.
I think
Because
in
when you
most
have other
cases,
people, you can
yeah,
lean on them sometimes.
true.
Yeah.
I think in most cases, people tend to like struggle less when it comes to business when they work as a team. So if they're two or more, but I feel like some people actually would just work better if they're by themselves.
Yeah.
Like it just they tend to like to have so much control over every single detail, and they want things to go their way, that if someone else is here and he just doesn't agree, then the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah. The only problem with that is, and I think he's learning it now that he's in a leadership position for his uni project,
Yeah,
that even okay, you can be the main leader, but you have to know when to hire people and let them screw up. If you
yeah.
want the business to grow, you're gonna have to hire people who might be a little less better than you,
Mhm.
or let them screw up to be better than you, and that's okay. Like Alex Ramosi said and Gary Vee. So that's just the only difficulty he might have.
True.
But as far as that's concerned, like to that friend watching, bro, we appreciate you. We know
Of
your
course, man.
intentions are
We're
good.
sending all love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we hope this like just might give you some insights on who can really be a good partner for you, or even just the fact that you can go do it alone, man. We know you can.
Yeah,
Um,
I know that he has so much ambition. Like it's something like you just know that he has a lot of ambition. You feel it, you know, first time I met him when he talked about businesses, I was like, damn, that guy, he's got so many good ideas and he's doing so many different things. Like it's amazing, you know.
yeah,
But it's kind of like you have to start something, you have to stick to it, and you just have to stick with it. Okay, you can't just start bouncing around changing things every 2 minutes. You have to stick with it, you know. And I think he learned his lesson when it comes to that. And yeah, I wish him the best of luck, and I thank him a lot for the help, and I'll tell you this in a call anyways after. So
yeah. And related to friendship, bro, since that's the perfect transition for the next topic,
mhm.
I was speaking with one of my online friends on the accountability call, and we had an interesting convo about who are the sorts of friends to keep in your life. One of us was like, you need to let go of the friends of the past because they're going to hold you back and you need to elevate. They might get jealous and things like that. And they have to be in the same path you're going to. And one of us was like, no, I mean, it's okay if they don't have the same ambitious as you as long as they want to be successful elsewhere. And the other one was kind of like, it's okay if they're completely different as long as they're loyal and supportive for who you are and they give you interesting conversations in different topics like life,
Yeah,
maybe not business but life or something like that.
yeah.
um which I find very interesting, and I'd like to get your thoughts
Mhm.
on that.
If I look at my life right now,
Yeah.
I'll say that I kind of have friends in every single section of the like in each and every section that you mentioned. Like I have some friends like you who think 100% like me, you know, when it comes to business and to some extent when it comes to religion. Um, I have other friends who, for example, I share the same thoughts about religion, exactly the same since we have the same one, and who don't do business. I have people who I don't talk about religion, I don't talk about business. I just talk to them about my life, about my problems, you know, just regular friends, and then that's it. So it's kind of, you know, sometimes you need some friends who you can talk with, but not about business,
Mm,
you know?
yeah.
Like it's just sometimes you just don't want to talk about business. So you just, you know, you can hang out with them when you're like, oh, I got a long weekend, don't have much to do. I did my stuff for my business, just taking a break, go out with them. I don't see I don't think that there's any issue with that. Same thing for if you go out with someone maybe that doesn't share the same thoughts on you when it comes to religion, you know,
Yeah.
like, okay, whatever, we're just not going to talk about religion. We can go out. You won't be my best friend, but we'll still, like, you know, be casual friends, hang out, have fun, and then that's it. And then with you, for example, I can do everything. I can talk
Yeah.
about religion, I can talk about business, talk as friends, and go out and work business. So it's kind of like, it's better to have people that share everything with you. So religion, thoughts, business, but it's kind of hard to find. So I won't blame anyone if they find someone who has one thing in common with them and then they want to hang out with them.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think if you have like a friend, if you don't have the luck that me and Mark have, thank God for that luck.
Yeah.
But you don't have that. Having one friend in business, one friend in who might ha even like fitness as well, and one
Yeah.
friend in religion is pretty decent.
Hmm.
And about friends, I noticed something. It's in seasons too in life. Sometimes you're going to be spending more time with your business friends. Sometimes you're going to
Hmm.
be spending more times with your loyal friends, discussing about life to
Yeah.
intrigue yourself. But I think the friends you're going to be spending the least time with them if you're serious about your goals are the fun friends. These guys you're
Yeah.
going to spend because the only thing you have in common is fun.
Hmm.
And these guys, you don't want to spend too much time with them. They can
I
affect
agree.
you.
Yeah, yeah. It's
And as
it's like they
yeah,
say, if you need to surround yourself with the right people, or else you get distracted. You'll
yeah,
get
they always
influenced.
say that. But they never say if some people say you have to eliminate everyone who's not business.
I don't think so.
I
No,
don't agree with that. I think as
no.
long as they accept you for who you are, they support you, and you can
Yeah,
have
as long
uh
as you can tell someone, as long as you can talk to someone about your business and he won't
yeah,
be like disrespecting you for that, then I don't see where the problem is. The main thing about friendship is respect and just being like kind of honoring each other all the time. So, you know, you have my back, I have your back. We might not
yeah,
agree on some things, but we don't make problems about it. We just don't agree. And we respect
yeah,
that. Different opinions, different thoughts, just respect it. That's it. As long as there's respect, the friendship can just work very well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was related to the friendship part. Is there anything you'd like to add related to
I
these
think
or all? Yeah, go ahead.
um no, I don't think I'll add anything to the friendship part,
Mm-hmm.
but I will talk about something else. I'll talk about how discipline sometimes is too much. Kind of weird, but
This is gonna be a good video to post.
good YouTube shorts, man. Yeah, I think discipline is sometimes overrated. And I can't remember if we talked about this on our last podcast or if we talked about it outside of the podcast.
Outside.
Outside, yeah. It's that for me, if I have some people, for example, when they talk about discipline, they're like, okay, you need a schedule. This day I'm going to do this day I'm going to do that, this time I'm going to do that, and to just, you know, have a full on schedule. Just like you, for example, you have it. If it works for you, that's great.
Mhm.
But I can say that for some people, having a specific calendar with certain things you have to do every single day is hell. Okay.
Mm.
Like, I had that for the longest period of time, you know, especially when I had school as well and I had business on the side. Like, I tell myself, oh, I got to do this today, I got to do that today. And it drives me crazy. So, what I have instead, and that works extremely well for me because I never missed any deadlines with it, it's that I just write down the deadlines that are important to me. So, like, I know that for next Thursday I have to post this video. So that means that I have to edit it. That means I have to take care of it. Just, you know, make it ready for next Thursday. And I will be able to finish it by next Thursday without assigning which days I will work on it. So let's say, okay, tomorrow I get back from work. I'm like, I'm extremely tired. if I do something right now, it won't be productive. I'll go to bed and I'll work on it tomorrow. Wake up
Yeah.
tomorrow. Okay, got some energy, slept, wake up, do it. Okay, I worked, let's say, 2 hours on it. Okay, that's amazing. The next day, okay, maybe I'll work half hour on it. I don't know if I'm doing some very productive work. Okay, actually I'll work more. I'll stick with it. It's kind of it's not based on how I'm feeling, but it's readjustable. So it means that if I know that in that point of time, if I'm going to sit down and work for 2 hours, I'm not going to be productive. I'm just not going to sit for the 2 hours. I'm just going to sit for the amount of time that makes me productive.
Yeah,
But
so
you
it's
know,
kind
of
of like
course,
the Alex Hormozy approach a bit.
I didn't know
Because
Alex Hormozy did that.
he was talking about how in the morning he might write 4 tasks to do, but just do one, and that's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Mm.
so I think that for me would work during this exam period, but during the free time period, nah, this won't work for me. Um, but I think you're right. It's a good approach, and I think you have to try it out,
Yeah.
test, and see what works for you. Maybe
I'll
in two
tell you two
months.
things though. The
Yeah,
first thing is I, I actually like when I have a calendar that I have to stick to, I'm always anxious about it. I'm always like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish that tonight. Oh, I'm gonna put pressure on me. Um, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. Oh, I'm gonna stay up until 3 in the morning and I'm gonna finish it. And then the next day I'm tired and I have stuff to do that in my calendar as well. I can't do it, too tired, and then I feel bad because I didn't do it. So that's one thing. And the other thing is I feel like it really depends on the kind of person that you are. But there are some negatives as well, you know, like sometimes you can be like, oh, I'm sure that if I sleep now, I'll wake up tomorrow, I'll be productive, I'll be able to do it. But then you try to sleep, you have a bad night's sleep, and you wake up, you're like, oh shoot, man, like come on, I didn't recover. And so you kind of have to be like, okay, I have to do it anyways now, you know?
yeah,
So you have to be careful because sometimes it's like you have to finish it at least like a day before the deadline just to be like sure that everything's going to be okay because you
yeah,
know circumstances.
yeah. And honestly, I do have that schedule as you, but I don't have that anxious spotlight. I can turn it off, and
Mhm.
I schedule I'm gonna be in bed at this time, but even if I don't do it, I'm like, it's okay. I
Yeah,
was just gonna try. If I know that my family went out, I'm like, it's not my fault. We went out, it happened. I had to go because they wanted to go out. But if it
yeah.
makes you anxious, yeah, that might be the solution. And as you go, you might figure out other things. Um, you want to add anything onto this? Because I'm thinking about something related to this, but I want to know if
No,
you.
let's go to your related thing.
I was gonna say this just made me realize, how important testing is. Because even with health and
Okay.
stuff, people tell you, oh, this is how you should do this, this is how should do that. But when you test, you're like, this doesn't work for me in terms of health. This doesn't work
Hmm.
for me in terms of nutrition. The other day, I watched a video of someone who's like, for him, cutting out sugar is not realistic. So what he does is he finds alternatives like yogurt, fruits,
Yeah.
protein stuff, or someone else, he doesn't like the stuff that he buys like protein and shit like that. He likes to cook it himself. So he cooks healthy alternatives. And then there's my uncle who completely cut off sugar because he couldn't control it. And that's fine. That's totally okay. If he can do it, he can do it. And he's been doing very well with it. But what I will say, bro, honestly, is that sugar, I think, does have some very artificial sugar does have some very negative effects on you.
True.
Uh, and honestly, I think it's why I've been feeling tired lately
Really?
because I have been eating a lot of sugar first thing in the morning. Orange juice, even if it's fresh, your honey, some chocolate throughout the day. And I learned that it pumps up your insulin
Hmm.
and then gives you a lot of energy, but then you feel lower throughout the rest
I
of the day.
I don't think honey and oranges will affect you that
Yeah,
much.
I
I think
probably think
it's
it's the
everything that's like
chocolate. Yeah,
yeah, probably chocolate.
it's all that
But
chocolate.
bro, I love chocolate, man. No,
Yeah,
but
yeah, I mean,
I
it's
see what
fine
you
if
mean.
you can control it, and also like you don't have to stop it. It's just something to for me. That's what it does. So maybe I should not take it in the morning. Maybe at night it's better. Um, but
Yeah.
for other people it
No,
might be
a
better.
lot of people have that. A lot of people have the energy drops in the morning. It's like I especially have it in the afternoon, after like when you used to go to school at
Yeah.
lunch, you'd eat so much during the lunch, you'd come to class, you'd be like, oh,
Oh yeah.
bro, I'm so tired, I want to sleep. It's the, it's all of your energy going. It's usually it's when you eat glucose.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard sometimes to manage it, but that's what fills you up. So it's kind of
The protein and carbs are the things that fill you up the most.
true.
I don't know if you knew
Oh,
that,
so
but
you're right. I said glucose. Sorry, I mean carbs. I mean
yeah.
carbs. Sorry, my bad. No, it's actually carbs take the most energy out of you to decompose them into. I think that's right. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll not talk about health. We're gonna
Let's
stop talking
talk.
about health because
Yeah,
because
let's
I,
not
to be
get
honest,
technical.
I don't think we know that much about it.
Yeah, we don't want to screw people up. All I was
But it's
saying
true
is just
that
thinking.
I saw, that's for sure, that when you eat everything that's like potatoes, fries, um, all of those fried things, you tend to become tired right after it more quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, what I was thinking, since I struggle with sleep, why not just take this chocolate before 2 hours before bed? Then it works for me, not against me. But
Yeah,
in the morning, it just goes against me completely. I still have to test it, but I
yeah.
think it's that because I get 8 hours of sleep, and every day when I go to uni, I'm tired, and when I wake up, I'm tired, so I don't get it.
Wait, I'll tell you something.
Yeah,
There's something crazy. I just realized this now. It's not that crazy, but when you wake up in the morning, you're just like
yeah,
so tired to like wake up, start moving and everything. But at night, when you're so tired, you tend to push it off and be like, no, I'll continue working. I don't know if you've noticed that. It's the same amount of tired.
usually.
Sometimes your eyes will be closing and you can't, like, you're dreaming, bro. Like you're mixing reality with your thoughts and it's going horrible. And you still push yourself. You're like, oh no, I'm gonna work. But in the morning you can't do it. I don't know if you've noticed that.
I noticed it sometimes. I will say that it started happening less than before, but I do admit that my creativity sometimes through the roof at night.
Yeah,
Uh, so
same. Always at night.
again, I think like the struggle with sleep for us is that's why we gotta succeed, bro. Is we're not in control of our schedule
Of
a
our
hundred
time, yeah.
percent. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and even when we live with family, family come and they're like, "Oh, can you stay longer? Oh, we're already out." But
Yeah.
when you are in control, you're like, "MF, I live here. They live there. I can go home. Nobody's gonna keep me up."
Yeah.
Um, but you and theoretically we could do the same thing, but it's harder.
Mhm.
But with school and stuff, it's difficult. That's why, bro, we gotta succeed, man, for all the health
We
and
gotta do
all.
it. We gotta do it. Yeah, I agree.
But seriously, like testing part, I think it's important. And even what I told that friend is I can't give you the answer when he asked me what should I do
Yeah.
if I'm not proud of myself and I slack in this. I told him you have to figure it out yourself. Because no matter what I tell you, it won't work for you. I don't have the context. I don't know your situation. Only you do. Because Alex Ramondi said something that's super true on one of his podcasts. We all know what we should do, but we just don't know why we don't do it. So we just have to figure out why we don't do it. And that's harder, he said.
True. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
So much, like so many times, the only thing that is stopping us from doing what's good for us or improving ourselves, starting our businesses, working harder on our businesses is just our thoughts and perceptions of ourselves. Because so many times you're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna start this podcast with Yassine. Then I'm gonna start thinking like, oh, I don't know, I don't know how to speak, bro. Like when there's a camera, I start stressing out, and I don't know. It's examples, of course. I don't. My language skills aren't good enough.
Yeah.
Like people won't like listening to me. They'll find me boring. Oh, I don't look good enough to be filmed. Oh, I'm scared of I'm scared of how people will tell me about, like, I'm scared of the comments that people will leave if like my podcast is absolute BS. I'm scared that nobody's gonna listen to it. And you kind of like start putting these things in your head. Oh, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough at speaking. I don't look good enough for this, and that. And you're like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll start the podcast later once I'll be able to do all these skills. You
Yeah.
won't be able to, you'll learn these skills through the podcast, not the other way around. Or a lot of people, for example, in the when it comes to the gym as well, they're like, bro, I'm so scared of going, and I've heard that. I'm so scared of going to the gym because I'm scared of how people will look at me.
Mm.
You know, I'm scared that I won't be able to lift enough weights. I'm scared that they'll see me running, they won't, they'll laugh at me because of how thin I am. You know, I heard it. It's your perception of yourself, and overthinking is kind of what stops you a lot of the time. You stop yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we talked about this before the pod together, but this is something that even me and you we struggle with. We struggle with it sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think I always thought once you do X, Y, and Z, you will never struggle with it again. You will be sure of yourself all the time. Having doubt and things like that is bad. But
Yeah.
no,
No, it's a
you
good
will
thing.
have them, and you still have to do it
True.
to prove the doubt wrong. And what the reason I say this is because, you know, when I wore the wig in public, when I did the podcast with you in public, I thought by doing, and when I went in front of my classmates when I was younger to get over my public speaking fears, I thought now it was good. I would never have any nervousness. I would never be scared of going public. I still do. I still do have it, but but I know that the
But it's
difference.
easier to overcome it. It's
Yeah,
easier to overcome it.
the difference is, even if I still have that fear, I now know that I've done it once, so I can do it again.
Yeah.
Or I still know that I have to do it scared.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah, you're
agree.
not weird if you feel, because I have a friend who also tells me this. Why do I feel doubt? Why am I scared to go talk to girls or do X, Y,
It's
and Z?
normal.
Even
It's normal.
it's part of it, and
I
it's gonna,
think you get through it. You get through it eventually. It's just at the start, it's like
yeah.
this.
And
At the
once you get
start,
older too, you stop caring more and more and more.
of
The
course,
only
yeah.
thing you care about is I'm gonna die once you're older.
Okay, man.
So
Let's not make this podcast depressing, bro.
no, but it's true.
No,
I
it's true.
think when we remember death, and this is hard because we're both young, but when we remember death, it's you just realize, bro, shit is real. It's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
joke.
No, I get you. Because
Yeah.
I talk a lot with a lot of people that aren't afraid of death, like, at all. A lot of time, I figure that, like, a lot of times these people are usually like, they don't believe. So it's like, it's interesting, you know, because they just believe, oh, you know, when it's over, it's over. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay, damn. Okay, we don't have the same perception of things, because for me, and when I was a kid, I used to think about it all the time. It's like, what happens when you die? You just close your eyes and then you never open them again, or um, okay, sure, I go to heaven, but okay, maybe I go to hell. Okay, but what does heaven look like? What does God look like? What does hell look like? What will happen in heaven? Forever? Living forever? That's just so weird, bro. What do you mean living
Oh yeah.
forever?
Oh
Having
yeah.
no end to my life?
Oh yeah. That I used to think of.
What does that mean, man?
Doesn't it get boring?
Exactly. Doesn't, like, you're living forever. There's no end to it. You're just there and it's not over. It's like, it's as if humans live forever. Just, our mind just can't comprehend this.
Yeah.
You know,
Y-
there's
Yeah.
no, it's out of our understanding.
All things like angels and all this is also out of our understanding. That's why
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
hard
yeah.
for people who are very logical and like to see things to believe.
True, true, true,
Uh,
true. Oh,
so
God
what?
said in the Bible that it was, and we had a prime example as well in the Bible. Um, but it's that those who believe only by seeing, they'll have a super hard time.
Yeah.
Because believing, you don't need to see the things with your own eyes to believe in it.
It's
You
even
know?
in the word belief. You look up the
Exactly.
definition, it doesn't say anything about seeing.
Exactly. It's,
No.
you know, it's a combination of a lot of things. But if you only believe what you see, then there's a lot of things you don't believe about. You know, a lot of people say, I don't believe in religion because I never seen God, I've never seen Jesus, for example. I've never seen the prophet, for example, for you.
Mm.
I've never seen this, I've never seen that. Like, you've never seen love, but you've always knew what love is. You always
Yeah.
know what love is, but you've never seen it. There's no physical attribute, no physical form of love.
Yeah, and honestly, bro, even if they saw it like in the religion at the time of the prophets were pulling all sorts of miracles. The people still didn't believe.
Yeah.
They called them magicians.
Yeah. Same thing in the Bible.
Magicians. So
Yeah.
why would it be any different here? Here they might say, "Oh, it's technology." They can say it. It's like, "Oh, it's 3D."
Yeah.
They will say anything to if they don't want to believe, they won't believe.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is. But I think the best way to just, you know, be an example is to lead with action and to be there for people when they need help.
Of course.
And don't be tough. Don't be rough with your way of, if you want to convince someone to join the religion or whatever, don't be rough. Don't be tough. It has to come from them. It has
I
if
think
it
it's
has to come
it's
from,
it's extremely, extremely, extremely hard to convince someone to change religions.
yeah,
Especially if someone is an atheist. You can't just
yeah,
go up to them and be like, bro, you should join Islam, you should join Christianism. Christianity. It's mixing French and English. Um, it's it's shocking. They can't comprehend it. You can't just start believing in angels, heaven, hell all in one day. It's just you can't happen. It can't happen like that. But it can happen
yeah,
the other way around. You know, when someone sees that you're a good person, that you always do good actions, they're gonna start questioning it. They're gonna be like, why is that person like that? Why does he not think of himself? Why does he always help others? Why is he so kind? And then when they ask you, you start explaining to them, oh,
yeah,
God said in the Bible, God said in the Quran, etc.,
yeah,
etc., etc. And then you're gonna be like, oh, they can start learning from. They're gonna be like, oh, can you talk to me more about it? Maybe they're interested. Maybe they're gonna be like, oh, cool, that's good for you. I don't really care about it. Some people,
yeah,
God may lead them your way, and you're gonna be like, okay, that's what I believe in. If you're interested, we can talk more about it. I can give you more info about it. We could you know, help each other
yeah,
out.
yeah, exactly. But
It's like
force
you
is
said, it's
never,
it's lead by example. Never force religion upon anyone. That's the worst thing that you can do. You can't just even if it's the people closest to you, you can't just go up to someone and be like, bro, you're a Christian now.
yeah. Or you're horrible because you're smoking.
Yeah.
Chill, chill.
Yeah,
But
you can't also, it's like you said, you can't also just judge other people by their actions.
yeah,
A lot of religious people are like, oh, look, that person needed this and that person needed that. Like, the person who judges others will be judged twice as hard by God, because you have to look at yourself first. Look at all the bad things that you're doing, and then be like, okay, I'll reflect on it. I'll take care of what I'm doing. Judge yourself first before judging others.
yeah, yeah. And there's a bit of arrogance when you judge others.
Yeah,
You're not the judge. God is the
exactly.
judge. Yeah.
You said it.
But yeah. This also applies to business, by the way, and self-improvement as a friend. Don't go forcing your friends. I hate
Yeah,
people. You should. No, no, you don't
yeah.
know my
No,
situation.
sir. I agree. Yeah. Anything
All
else
right.
you'd like to add?
Nah, man, this is all for this one. Then we can wrap
Perfect.
it up.
Yeah. Thank you all for listening to the weekly break. It's a pleasure to have you here. God bless you. I hope everything goes great for you. I hope you had a nice time. And we'll see you next week.
Inshallah. Bye.
Inshallah. Bye.